what they're asking for, and you kind of take that feedback. And if you see that the photographer is asking you to move a lot, you start moving. If they're asking you to be very slow, you hold each pose very calmly. And all these things, it's just practicing in front of the mirror, practicing taking selfies, kind of analyzing. It's hard sometimes to kind of view yourself as a third party, but practice makes perfect. And the more you start analyzing, your photos, you can kind of check and see if there's any photographers in your town, friends, whatever. Obviously, ask them, hey, do you want to take some photos of me? And you can kind of like work your way from there. The next thing that you need to do is, in my opinion, social media is so important. So if you're trying to be discovered as a model, your social media is a huge tool for you to use. It's important for you to have a social media that really reflects you as a model. Even if you're brand new, even if you haven't done much, you want people to be able to see your social media and see the potential. So if your Instagram is full of photos of cars and your cat, it doesn't really help you as a model. So posting photos of yourself, again, photos that you took of yourself, etc., but like looking like the part gets you long ways. Reaching out to agencies through your Instagram. There's tons of agencies, and just reach out to as many agencies as you can when you're ready. But you need them to be able to see your profile and to immediately see someone that has potential as a model. So first of all, having a public social media, because sometimes I get messages from people that are like, oh, I want to be a model. I go on there and it's private. So by the time I, follow them, whatever, the communication completely gets lost. So if you have that moment, that opportunity, you want to seize it. So having the right social media with a username, for example, I sometimes get messages from people that have like, Lucky Bunny #7. Like that doesn't, you need to treat it like a job, because it is. So like if your social media says your name and your last name, or the closest thing you can to your name and your last name, your stage name, obviously, if you're using something different, and reflect that. You want people to see that you're taking it seriously, your angles, you know how to take a good photo. And again, we are always, as agents, we're always looking for new talent. So it's not that I'm expecting to bump into someone with the most amazing social media with the perfect photos, but we're always looking for people that know their angles and know how to take a good selfie. Obviously, because nowadays so many of the castings are, we're always asking people to send us like a home tape and stuff. So I'm always looking to see if this person actually knows how to take a good casting video or casting photo, knows how to light it, knows their angles, etc. Because it's very important. Next thing, very important in modeling, is how you dress to a casting. For the most part, and again, whether it's a virtual casting or in person, you want to wear something that's very plain, in the sense that, like, obviously flattering to you. Whatever color, I always say something more like neutral. But you don't want someone to remember your t-shirt more than they remember you. So you want to wear, whatever you feel comfortable in that flatters you, but you want them to remember your face and your personality and not your crazy outfit. When you do your homework, meaning if you have a casting and I tell you, hey, you have a casting tomorrow for Macy's. If you don't know what Macy's is, do some research, find out what, So if I'm telling you that you have a casting for like a bridal job, then you probably want to wear something white, because the wedding dresses that they would want you to be wearing in the photo shoot are white. If I tell you that you have a casting for like a leather brand, maybe for the casting you wear a leather jacket or something. And the key to like that extra chance to success is doing your homework. Do the research, find out the brand that you're casting for. What do they like? What do they usually, who do they usually book? you know, if you're casting for a hair job, you probably don't want to show up to the casting like with a bun. You know, they want to see your hair, whatever your hair is, they want to see it. So doing that research will give you that extra, you know, oomph. And obviously, once you have an agent, asking your agent, hey, should I wear this? Should I wear that? What should I say? Etc. But the first impression is so important, so important. A lot of times, before they even say hello or whatever, they already kind of made up an idea in their heads of like the style that you fit. But a lot of people have the power to really change. I had this casting recently that they wanted like a blonde girl specifically for this thing or whatever. And I had a brunette model that I thought could totally do the job. So I sent her video. It was amazing, whatever. And then long story short, they booked her because her personality is so engaging that it happens to her all the time that people wanted something different. And then something about her just kind of captures the client. So I want to talk a little bit about rejection as well, because that's like an everyday, all day long thing in modeling and in acting. For me as an agent, it's very easy to tell you, don't take it personal. You know, it's the nature of the business, but I understand that, especially when you're new, but even actors who have been doing this for a long time and models who are doing it for a long time and are successful, still, it's hard. It's hard to draw that line and to not take it personal because your job is you. So I understand that it's very hard, but the faster you kind of take that turn and realize that it really truly is not personal. Sometimes you might not get booked because your shoe size just is not. It's, you know, if it's a shoe company, the shoot they need this specific size and that's it, and that's what they need. Sometimes they loved your style, but the male model that they had chosen before, or whatever, is a little bit shorter than you, and they want him to be taller, or what XYZ. There's always so many reasons. The psychology of why somebody, sometimes like a casting director, will or will not choose you. Sometimes you literally might remind them of their high school sweetheart or their English teacher who they either loved and that's why they booked you, or they hated it and that's why they get. Sometimes the casting director himself doesn't know why. They just are not feeling your vibe, or they are. It's hard to put into words. This is not a mathematical industry. It's not a clear cut, you know, it's not science. It's so much about passion and feeling and in the moment. So truly, the quicker you can get to realizing that it really truly is not personal and just working on the things that you can work on. Sometimes the feedback is something that you have zero control over. They need, for example, if you do campaigns for alcohol brand, they need somebody that's 25 and up. Hold on, my little tripod has had a little issue. 1 second. Okay, we're back. So sometimes you will get feedback that either the casting people will tell you straight up to your face, or that they will tell your agent and your agent will tell you. And if it's feedback that you can work on, amazing. If they say, you know, we need someone with a longer neck, you can't really work on growing your neck. So like, don't take it personal and move on. But if they say something like, you know, this person needs to work on their delivery, they need to work on their movement, whatever, then listen and learn and, you know, take advantage of the feedback, because it's not that common. Sometimes they literally just, they don't book you and you never really know why, and your agent doesn't either. And but when you do get the feedback, it's gold, in my opinion. Just listen to it, use it, and learn from it. In my opinion, there's a difference between learning from other models and actors and kind of taking cues, you know, inspiring yourself from watching them work, watching them while they're either doing the job or watching them while they're doing the casting, etc. But also there's don't compare yourself. At the end of the day, what works for this person doesn't necessarily work for you. So the more you observe and the more you know about the industry, the easier it is to start realizing, okay, well, clearly this person has this that works for them, but I think for me, this is a little bit better, yada, yada. In my opinion, castings that are in person are easier in the sense that it's easier for the client to really like get a sense of who you are as a talent. But nowadays, so many castings are virtual, so you need to be able to like, how do you, in your little video that you're going to send, how do you jump out of the screen? How do you make this person feel that you're in the room with them and that you have the magnetism and the personality to book the job? And for example, if you're a casting director and you're booking someone for a catalog, let's say, for a shoot that's going to be a very long day with one person changing outfits, changing light, it's like, yes, they're obviously interested in your look and if it fits the brand, but a lot of it is your personality. Like, do I really want to spend an entire day shooting this person? Is this person, does this person have the energy that we need to stay? It can get exhausting. I'm not a model, but I watch them work, and sometimes it's like they've been smiling for 4 hours. Like it can get a little exhausting. So I think there's some people that just have that ability to kind of like, in one quick casting, you can tell this person knows how to turn it on and knows how to like take the job seriously, but also be fun. At the end of the day, as a performer, you're not a robot. You're human. And when you're a model, for example, you are holding all the jobs that all these people did previously. So the stylist, the hair, the makeup, the designer, the editor, the photographer, all these people have planned a shoot, have bounced around ideas, saw a bunch of other models, chose you, and then you show up to the job and you're carrying all this pressure from all these other people's jobs, and they're all projecting it onto you. So it's hard, and I'm sure it's nerve-wracking. And sometimes a photo shoot, for example, is not going well because the weather, the light, the clothes are a little, it's something that has nothing to do with you as a model, but the vibe is a little tense. And I've seen sometimes models that kind of like, even though they are hearing what the problem is and they know that it's not them, they're kind of absorbing that like tense energy. So like they're getting tense and it just makes it worse. So, and I've seen models who are just magicians in the sense that like everything's kind of going wrong and like nothing's really fitting, but the model's energy is so like positive and on, and they're like trying things that you're like, okay. And that is what will get you booked over and over again. I always say, you should get excited when you book, your first job with a client. The first time you shoot for this magazine or this sure. But it can probably be your last. Meaning, if you don't make the team fall in love with you, they're never going to work with you again. You're only like the new face one time when the first time they book you. After that, they're like, do I really want to work with this person? Is this person professional? Do they show up on time? Do they actually listen to what we're trying to do and like really go for it? Or are they just on their phone the entire day and barely, I see models that during hair and makeup, they're talking, they're engaging with the team, they're kind of, being a part of. And that is so nice and so helpful for the whole vibe in general to click. And some other models are completely the opposite. The whole time during hair and makeup, they're on their phone. While they're being changed, they're on their phone. When they're adjusting light, they're on their phone. Like they have zero interest in, and even though like, I know some of these people, like I know they're happy about doing the job, but they're not understanding that their behavior is kind of showing that they couldn't care less to be there. You know what I mean? Like they're just fighting with their boyfriend or taking like 100 cigarette breaks or like, so all of those things matter so much. So you can be the perfect size for the brand and the perfect face, and you're amazing on camera and you look beautiful in the photos, but then the rest of the time you're like not nice to have around. There's another model that might not look as amazing in the photo, but they're amazing to have on set. They're polite, they're on time, that all of those things matter. For example, one of the biggest pet peeves for people is when you got your hair done and you start like messing with the hairstylist is like, you're ruining my job. I see a lot of models that when they're changing clothes, they literally take the pants off and just throw them. Like, there is somebody that has been steaming those clothes and has to, all of those little things matter so much when you're shooting in like a backdrop, like a white backdrop. If you're not careful, you can either like if you get on and off the backdrop really quickly, you can rip the paper, you can get it really dirty. It's little things that you can tell when somebody is really like, their mind is like, we're working and this, and we're lucky because this is a job that, we're not sitting in an office for 8 hours. Like, it can be a very fun job, and there's a really fun creative side to it, but it's also, at the end of the day, we are all trying to make a career and make money, and this is a serious thing. And a lot of people, when they start modeling, I think that they don't realize it, or they just don't know how to project that they are taking it seriously, and it just gives you that feeling that the person couldn't care less, and it just kind of like happened to them, and they just like, luckily just became a model, and here I am, take my photo and look how beautiful I am, and I'm going home. That's not something that you want clients to think of you. You want people to see that you are taking it seriously, that you are prepared, that you want your career to grow. And the thing is, you might be shooting a small little catalog. Of course, you're brand new, nobody knows you. You're shooting this little catalog, but that photographer or that hair stylist or that makeup artist, they also do other jobs. And if they love working with you that day, they're going to tell that other magazine or that other designer or whoever else they work with, hey, I shot this person today. They're amazing. You got to check them out, yada, yada, yada. You can get a good reputation very quickly, but you can get a bad reputation very quickly. It's harder to get a good reputation. The bad one happens like this. If you're the person that showed up late, that stole something, which I've had horror stories of people that like walk off set and stole XYZ, thinking like, oh, there's tons of clothes, like they're not going to notice. They will notice. They have a list of every little thing. So I've had a lot of horror stories, and you don't want to be that person, because that travels in 2 seconds. Everybody's like, oh my God, I shot this model today. You can't believe the attitude. They broke the shoes. They tried to steal something. They were super rude to us, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't want that. You want the complete opposite. You want somebody saying, oh my God, we shot this model today. Oh my God, they're gorgeous, they're brand new, yada, yada, the best attitude. They're so fun. That their hair is amazing. Their personality is super cool, whatever. And if you're getting that like recommendation from somebody that already worked with you, it's worth gold, because these people are in the industry. They've been in the industry for a while. They've worked with all kinds of models. So if they're telling someone, oh my God, you should work with this person, most likely that person's going to be like, okay, let's do it. Like, I trust you. And in my opinion, as a model, the quicker that you do that, and the quicker that you create this good reputation, the more people just start calling, and you just start getting booked for jobs without even going to a casting, without even submitting a self-tape. You shot for this little lookbook that paid very little and was like not that cool and whatever, but that photographer loved shooting you, and next week is shooting a hair campaign and literally tells that client like, hey, I just shot this model, they're amazing, yada, yada, yada. And then we get a call and you're booked, and you didn't even know there was a casting. You didn't send a self-tape, nothing. You just, boom, you get booked. So that's like the golden ticket, and that's where you want to be. And good working models, that's what they have, because they've kind of worked with so many people that they just keep getting called over and over again. And for it, I always say it's amazing when a photographer keeps wanting to shoot you over and over again, and they're not getting bored from your face and your look. And obviously, you know, at every shoot, you're dressed differently and whatever, but at the same time, it's still your face. And if they want to book you over and over again, it's because they like the feeling of working with you. And sometimes people are like a lot more, they rather work with a model that they know what they're going to get and they know that it's going to be a successful day of work than like somebody that, oh my God, their face is amazing, but I have no idea if this person's actually going to perform and actually going to give us what we want for a full day of shooting. Especially when you're shooting, for example, outdoors, and there's like, either it's super cold, and, you know, as a model, it can be hard when you're shooting something, it's super cold, everyone else on the team is wearing this big jacket and sweatpants, and, you know, and you're wearing like shorts. Like, I get it, and there is an element sometimes where the model is put in the hardest situation, but it is part of the job, and that's the kind of stuff that it's like, that's where you really show what you have as a model. And that stuff, even though it's not gonna, it doesn't go unnoticed. Like, you're not in school and nobody's gonna give you a golden star, but it doesn't go unnoticed. And all of us working, even if in the moment we're like, you know, we notice, people notice, and people remember, and they say, okay, this model knows what to do and can figure it out in a hard situation, and can get through the obstacles of XYZ and kind of like project. And it is, sometimes you get those jobs that everything is super nice and everything's glamorous, and they did your hair and your nails and everything just was like magical. But other jobs, it's like you're in uncomfortable shoes that are 2 sizes too small, the weather's not helping, the place is like, you know, we're looking through the camera and we see this, but the model sees everything else. And sometimes it's like an ugly warehouse that's like smells a little strange. And as a model, you need to be able to completely, you know, make up this little world in your head and project that you are shooting like the cover of Vogue. And some people are fantastic at it. And I've seen, for example, for runway castings, sometimes you go to the casting for this designer or whatever, and the casting is either in their showroom or in their apartment, whatever, and there's a space this big for you to walk, and there's no music, and somebody's on their sewing machine. It's like, it can be so not glamorous sometimes, and you need to be able to walk. They're going to look at you for 2 seconds, and in those 2 seconds you need to be able to walk like you are literally like on the runway. You need to imagine like there's all of these cameras, and I'm in Paris, and I'm wearing the coolest outfit I've ever worn in my life. And I see some models that just have that ability to transport themselves for those 2 seconds and walk like they're, you know, in the best fashion show in the world. And some people walk like they are in some hallway with no music. You know what I mean? Like they look like they're walking to the grocery store, and that's not that's not going to get you booked. So all of these things, again, it's preparation. How can you imagine in your head and project that you're walking in this fashion show when you have no idea? I have so many models sometimes that they tell me like, my dream is to be a model, yada, yada. And I ask them, you know, what kind of jobs would you want to do? What kind of photographers would you want to work with? Who? They don't know one photographer's name. I'm not going to put you guys on the spot, but I'm sure a lot of you don't know as much as you should. If you actually want to be a model, you should know who are the best photographers in the world, who are the best magazines. Don't go for the obvious choice. If I tell you who's your favorite model, don't say Kendall Jenner and like everyone. My father knows these people's names. Like you should know like the industry insider information, and it's very easy to know that nowadays. Which are the best magazines? Which are the best fashion shows? What city does this brand show in? Like if it's Chanel, their show is in Paris, it's not in New York. If it's Tommy Hilfiger, their show is in New York. So the more information you know, the better prepared you will be when that opportunity comes. And the thing is that this is not an industry that's fair, or there's no like perfect ladder to climb. Sometimes you'll get an amazing opportunity 2 seconds after you just started, or you just signed with an agent, and sometimes you've been with an agent for 2 years, and then you get that, $1 million opportunity. You need to be ready, because you don't know when that opportunity is coming again, and you need to seize the moment. And there's some things that you can't, again, I think people who are looking for fresh faces, we know that you don't have years of experience, so that doesn't scare me. I don't mind working with people that have borderline zero experience, but I want to work with people that are informed, that know enough. When I became an agent, I had zero experience as an agent, zero. But I had spent years looking through every magazine, every blog, watching every fashion show you could think of on YouTube. So I was informed enough to be able to, even though I was starting from zero, I had a lot of information stored in my head. And there's people that are starting from zero and their information is also zero. And you can tell, and that just makes it twice as hard as an agent, to prepare talent when they have no idea what the industry even is. And sometimes, obviously, I have found models walking down the street or whatever, the Six Flags, that I've said, hey, would you like to be a model? And they know nothing about this, but I'm assuming that you guys know that you want to do this and you are pursuing these things, so you should be informed. And obviously, step one is like, there's a reason why you're all logged on here. I can tell that you want to prepare yourself and you want to learn. So this is the best medium. And in my opinion, for example, social media, follow models, if you want to be a model, you don't just want to follow models on Instagram. You want to follow stylists, designers, hair, makeup, agents. Like, what are the best agencies in the world? If you can't relocate to move to New York, then where do you live? What's an agency that's close to you? Develop that knowledge so that you know what steps to take and you know where to go towards. And also, if you know enough about the industry, you can kind of tell like what kind of jobs you can shoot for in this point in your career, like which ones can be like your start. I always say dream big. Yes, like let's shoot for the stars, and you should have this like wish list of, I hope I get here. Okay, but then where are you starting here? Like, we all have to start from down here. And this road might take a year, 2 years, or 10 years, but you have to start from the bottom up. So what is that bottom for you? What do you really, truly, honestly think can be one of your first jobs? And if, for example, if your strong suit, you don't think runway is your strong suit, then okay, what is? And you can still say, I would love to, end up doing amazing runway shows or whatever. Awesome. Work on your walk, whatever, but like, where do you start? What are the first things you really think, okay, I think I'd be great at TV commercials. I think I could be great at catalogs. Hair jobs, I have amazing hair. My hair can take a lot of, because hair is a whole thing, but like poor models, when you start modeling, they do so many things to your hair that it's like, if you don't take care of it, people will ruin it like this, because they're curling it, straightening it, putting all kinds of products. Your skin is like a huge thing to take care of, because you're getting all this random makeup put on your face. And I see models that immediately they know, like, so know your skin, know what works for your skin, and know how to clean your skin. And I always say, if you show up to a job, bring your own either makeup remover or face cream or whatever you need, so that as soon as the job is over, you can remove it. And because the more you work, the more beating your hair and your skin are going to take. So you really need to take care of those things. Again, the more informed you are, the more you can prepare for the kind of jobs that you are starting off from. And an agency can tell when they sign you, if you really know what you're doing and know what you can bring to the table. Some people are completely delusional about the kind of jobs that they can book. And again, I love hearing when people want to shoot for the stars, but we're going to start here. So like you need to know this is the kind of stuff that people start in. Get informed about the industry, payments, commissions, contracts, and all of that information is definitely available. You can Google all kinds of things. Something like today is the perfect opportunity to ask those questions. And the more questions you ask, I love getting asked questions. I get bombarded on social media by questions. And you can know when someone actually, I get messages sometimes like, hi, I want to be a model. That's it. No, hi, nice to meet you. No, nothing. Just obviously those questions are not very appealing to me, and it's not a very interesting conversation to have when somebody doesn't even say hello or goodbye or use question marks or nothing. And you can tell when someone's like, hi, nice to meet you. You know, my dream is to be a model. My dream is to be an actor. I've done XYZ. I'm looking for some advice. If you could, when I read something like that, it makes me happy to connect that person with, if I can connect them with someone, or if I can respond advice, or if I can get like, I will happily do it because I can tell that this person has done some research and knows what, you know, they know where they're trying to go. Other people are just like gimme, like I want to be a model. That's it. And like, what do you answer to that? You know? So all of those things are so important. It's kind of like the what I call your homework, your office. To me, your office as a talent is eating healthy, going to the gym, getting your sleep, working on your hair, your makeup, your clothes, like all of those things are your 9 to 5 kind of preparation. Self-tapes and like digital castings. For example, when I started in the industry, models and actors had to drive up and down and all around to go to 2-second castings. And it's like you drove for an hour, you had to spend money on gas, parking, blah, 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 wait in line for an hour to stand there for 2 seconds, read your line, or you know, take a photo and leave. Now it's so cool that you can do so many things digitally. And to me, it's just amazing. I still can't get over the fact of how cool it is. And even though there is the side of like less personal, you know, connection in a casting, you still have the ability now to do 20 castings in a day if you needed to, or you know, you can cast for, they're casting for a movie in LA, you don't live in LA, but you send an amazing self-tape and it could get you the part. But people send tapes sometimes where it's like the lens is dirty, the photo's blurry, the sound sucks, you can see their dirty laundry in the background, or you see the toilet, or yada yada yada. Again, you can tell, okay, clearly this person put zero effort into this casting. Sometimes people record these castings like at night with a horrible light. I'm like, okay, they obviously don't want the part. Like, you need good lighting, you need good sound. When I play a video, a casting video, I shouldn't think of anything other than you and your performance. I shouldn't be looking at the background. I shouldn't be looking at your mom cooking or at your messy room, or like, the video should literally immediately make me focus on you and your talent, and that's it. And it's not, nobody's asking for a, I know you're not a director and you don't have a professional camera. I don't need this like unbelievably, you know, perfect video. I just need good light, good performance, and no distractions. So whether that distraction is, you know, a poster in the background or your sister or whatever, the less distraction, the better, because then I'm just going to focus on you and remember you. Another thing that's amazing about video castings is, again, back then you had one casting, you messed it up and it was live, and you know, and you got shy and you giggled, or you, nowadays you can mess it up 20 times in your house. I don't need to find out about how many times you messed it up, and you send me that one great video. It's awesome. So take that opportunity. I wish that that would have existed when I started. The industry was, in my opinion, it was much harder. You had to spend way more time and effort and money to be able to get these opportunities. And now really, you know, internet, social media, Zoom, all these things have really afforded us so many tools to be able to get seen by the right people. And you guys clearly are doing the right thing. You're here and you're learning, and you're, you know, this is going to give you a great, you know, from here, it's so much easier to get noticed by agents. But once you get noticed, what are they going to notice? Are you prepared to be noticed by an agent? Are you prepared to have a conversation with an agent that says, hey, I love your look. You're exactly the age and vibe and whatever that I'm looking for. Are you ready? Are you actually ready to have that conversation and take it seriously and know, like, you know, what the job entails? And only you know if you truly are ready. So the more prepared, the better. It really just, I know I'm repetitive about it, but it truly is like mind-boggling how some people say that their dream is to be an actor or a model, and they have zero idea about how it works. At the end of the day, I say that this is like you're opening a company, and the company's name is your name, and you're the owner, the assistant, the secretary, the receptionist. Like, you are the whole company, and this is your business. So take care of your company and your business. And it goes from everything from your physical appearance to your health. Because me, for example, I can, if I'm super sick and I can't stop blowing my nose, I can still work. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to say, oh no, I don't want that agent that has, you know, a runny nose. You can't go and film this amazing scene if you have to blow your nose every 2 seconds. And if you look, I can do my job with huge circles under my eyes. It doesn't really make that much of a difference when you're an agent. When you're the talent, it makes a difference. You better have, you know, you don't want to come with a scratchy throat when you're trying to like sing or deliver a line. All of those things matter. So you guys, that really is so important. Like every little detail of how taking care, like if you know that you have a shoot the next day, even if it's not at 6 a.m., don't go to sleep late. Don't, I always hear people say like, oh, I can't have that much salt for dinner because if I have that much salt, I'll, you know, I don't know, whatever works for you and your face. Some people can wake up and 2 seconds later, they're ready with a huge puffy face. That's just the nature of your body and your whatever. So if you know that, then wake up 2 hours early, take a cold shower, do whatever it takes for you to look the way you need to look and also feel the way you need to feel. You can tell when someone feels comfortable. And as a model, you don't get to choose every outfit that you are wearing. And, you know, and sometimes the skirt's too big and it's pinned in the back, so you can't even move as freely as you want. And the shoe's a little fine, but try to control the things that you can control. You can control the fact that you had a good night's sleep, that you had, you know, a healthy breakfast and you have energy, and, you know, control the things that you know that you can control. Bring a snack on set. If you're someone that gets tired, you know, quickly or whatever, bring your protein bar, bring your, you know, XYZ. The more prepared you are for the things that you can control, the better the outcome is going to be. And as an actor, I see, for example, so many people that it's hard when you're like shooting this like emotional scene and you're expected to cry or whatever, and then it cut, and then okay, 30-minute break, we have to change the light and we need to adjust the sound or whatever, and you go to your trailer, you have a snack, and then they expect you to come right back and they go action and cry again, please. It's, I'm not an actor, so I can't tell you it's not hard for me. It's impossible. I am not an actor, but I've seen actors do it in two, and some actors have the ability to, there's a 30-minute break, they call their mom, and then right after that, some people, they know that if they kind of get out of character, they can't slip back into it as quickly. So they go off in some corner and they read their lines. And then, so all of that homework, I can't do that for you as an agent. You need to know what your abilities are and what you can and cannot. What for you, something might take 30 minutes of preparation or 2 hours. You are the one that knows that. That is not my job to tell you, okay, tomorrow you better wake up 3 hours before the photo shoot. You know, for me, if you can manage to wake up 5 minutes before the job and show up on time, good for you. But you know what you need to do to be there. And again, things that you can't, your shoe size, you can't control your shoe size, but you can control all those other elements. Your personality, being on time, eye contact. When you do a casting, when you meet somebody, whether it's a handshake or just a hello, like in 2 seconds, you really can show someone, like, I am prepared. I want to be here. I want this job, and not just like, "Oh, I just came here because." And some people, I think, that make the mistake of like thinking that acting confident is also acting like I don't really care. That, to me, that doesn't show confidence. That shows like lack of interest. That shows arrogance, or it shows like triple insecurity, in my opinion, because clearly you care. You showed up. So like obviously you care enough. So pretending like you're too cool for my job is not really gonna is not gonna help. Uh, when somebody is like, I'm not. I don't want someone to show up to the casting and be like, please, please book me. It's not that. It's just like the energy of, hi, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for your time. Whatever. You don't need to be, you don't need to suck up to someone, but you do need to show that you are grateful for this opportunity, and you know that your time as a talent is worth something. And my talent as the casting director, photographer, agent, my time is worth something. Don't waste my time. Show up prepared, show up with the energy required for the job. Um, One little tip, this is random, but it just came up in my head. Jewelry, like I'm clearly a fan of jewelry. When you show up to a job, do not wear anything, because everything always gets lost. Don't wear your grandmother's pearls. Don't wear your mom's lucky earrings, because they will take everything off and put it in some corner and it will get lost. I know that's very random, but I just thought of it and I wanted to tell you guys. Should we open up into some questions? I would love to answer some questions, please. Jeremy, can we do some questions?
Yep. So who wants to have or has a question for David? If you just want to raise your hand on Zoom, what I'll do is I'll just call you off of that, okay?
Guys, you have to have
No
questions.
questions?
There we go.
All right. So Kiana?
Hello. So I'm super new to literally all of this. And my question like for you is like, where do I even begin with building a portfolio? Because I like take pictures for Instagram and stuff all the time, but I haven't done like any shoots, and like I have reached out to like some local photographers and stuff, but they always ask, what is your vibe and all this stuff, and I don't know. So just like help with that.
Okay, so good. I'm glad you're taking photos of yourself. Either take some, I would say not just selfies, like, get a tripod, get a light, whatever, ask your friend, take photos. And I want to see photos of you with lots of, maybe one with some crazy makeup on, one with zero makeup on, one with your hair down, one with your hair up, one, wearing a dress, a skirt, pants, whatever. So the more variety I can see in your portfolio, the better. And once you reach out to those photographers, I mean, again, you don't have to lie in the sense that people know you're new. So if they say, what's your vibe? And you don't even know, you say, well, I'm new to this, so I don't necessarily know my vibe, but I'm really interested. And I'm dying to try new things and, experiment, and I want to play with it, whatever. And sometimes you might work with somebody that, like, let's say some photographer says, yes, let's do it. And my friend's a makeup artist and she's going to do your makeup, and you show up and the makeup's super weird and the hair's kind of strange. And let's say that, like, worst case scenario, let's say the photos turn up horrible. I'm talking worst case scenario. I still think it was a great thing to do, because you're learning to work with hair that you don't like and makeup that you don't like and styling that you don't like. You need to work, in those. Not everything is going to be the dream job with the dream hair and makeup. But you're doing the right thing. Keep reaching out to photographers. do some research. For example, if you want to show up, reach out to a photographer that you can tell only shoots natural light and whatever, then take some photos of yourself in natural light, post them and be like, hey, I love your work, yada, yada. I'd love to work with you, etc. It's, it's hard to say what your vibe is, but just say like, whatever vibe you need, I can, I can do it. Now, do your research, because there's a lot of people out there that are a photographer and they're not, and it's not going to be safe and whatever. So in my opinion, show up with your, and this is my personal opinion, don't show up to like a photo shoot with your boyfriend. It's different. Your mom, your sister, that's a different story. A boyfriend is kind of like a, or girlfriend, it's kind of like a situation where at the end of this is a job. If you're a minor, do not go anywhere alone. Like, I forbid you. Go with your mom, your dad, your grandma, your guardian, whatever. But if you're an adult and you still don't want to go somewhere alone, I do not blame you. But bring somebody that's going to behave in a professional manner and is not going to be giving opinions on the hair and makeup. They're just there to like make you feel safe and know that like if something happens, you have someone like on your side. But don't bring me an extra set of opinions, because nobody's going to be happy to receive that. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, Jesse.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I got a bit of a specific question, but I'm hoping it's going to be relevant for other people too. So we got this showcase coming up next weekend, and it's going to be a photo shoot there. Now, I'm primarily from the acting department, hoping to double a bit in commercial print if that opportunity comes up. And basically, we have to have like a set card with the 4 major pictures. So what would you generally recommend for someone 40 plus, still in fairly decent shape, to give artist looks? Like if you had to pick 4 looks.
I mean, the photographer in the moment, like, come prepared, in my opinion, come prepared with like different outfits and bring, a sleeveless top, a button shirt, a white, black, gray, because the photographer is there and can see the light in the moment and your skin and your hair and whatever, and their opinion is going to help you a lot to get the good shots. But I love to see a variety. I'd love to see a photo of you with like a very colorful top, something super muted, like a white or a black, something with like, a high neck, something with a low neck, like a little bit of everything. Something maybe like a flowy dress, but then another outfit is like very much like skinny jeans and like a tight top. And just, again, really show yourself in those photos. And for all of you guys that are primarily more focused on acting today, like I do PR for actors. And nowadays, you really, no matter what you do, you got to do like a full circle of things, because a lot of these actors, half of their money and their career is the campaigns that they shot and the fashion show that they got invited to and dressed and sat front row, like everything. If you get booked as you're an actor, you're on a TV show, you're a little bit famous, so then you become a sponsor or an ambassador for this jewelry brand, and then the jewelry brand has a event and they bring whatever, and then at that event a director comes and they see you, and then it's not just like I went to a casting and I booked it. Like, people want to know what brands do they work with, what, like it's the industry has changed so much that you got to be prepared to do the full circle of everything. Even like if you're promoting a movie, like you will be shooting like the poster for it, you'll be doing interviews, maybe the whole cast is doing the cover of this magazine together, so like you're modeling. So it's like really good that you guys are doing all of this, because you want to be prepared for the full circle of the spectrum of the work.
So regarding the photography, in one word, if I would sum up what you said, I hear contrast.
Yes, variety. You want a variety, yeah.
Variety.
So that you want people to be able to imagine you as the bad guy in the movie and the good guy in the movie, and so that you don't pigeonhole yourself into one look, especially when you're brand new and you don't even, so the more variety that you have in your photos, the better.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Bye.
Also, Jesse, your performer manual is going to have you give you more details about what's expected for your photo shoots. There's going to be different options too, so that you'll bring over that the photographer will pick out for you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yulista or Yulista, sorry.
Yelitsa. No, it's fine. It's
Hi.
okay. Hi. Yeah, so I have a question. It's about agencies versus mother agencies. So I just started, professionally, okay? So I don't know really maybe how much agencies we can work with or mother agency, because sometimes I know that mother agency can want us to be like exclusive, but we can also work with different agencies. But I want to know, what is the best choices? What do I really need a mother agencies? Like,
So a mother agency is, and they use the term mother agency because they act like your mother in the sense that they're the ones that are kind of like guarding you, educating you, teaching you, and launching you into your career. And so if your mother agency is in Chicago and Texas and whatever, their job is to help you be prepared to then they help you sign with an agency in New York and Paris and Miami and London, depending on your look and feel. And you can have an agency in every city. That doesn't mean that you need one in every city or that you should have one in every city, but you can have one in every market. And so the good agencies are going to ask you for an exclusivity in their market. So if you are with an agency in Paris, that's it. You can't be with multiple agencies in Paris. You know, the United States is so big, you could be with an agency in Miami, another one in LA, and another one in New York. But again, a mother agency is there to kind of walk you through this, because if you sign with this agency in Miami and then you sign with this other agency in LA and they don't work well together and they don't communicate well together, that's not going to help you. You want to be with agencies that like are in a team, in the sense that like if I represent you in this city and this other agency represents you in another city, and I had booked you for a catalog that pays $2,000, but then your agency in Miami books you for a campaign and it pays $10,000. If we work well together, I will say, listen, the best thing for this model is to like, I'll cancel my job and you want to do the job that's, you know, $10,000. But other agencies don't get along and they'll be like, no, if you cancel my job, I don't want to work with you anymore, yada, yada. So that all really helps to work with agencies that work well with each other so that you get the best for your career. So I do recommend being with a mother agency, and a mother agency is like a marriage in the sense that you want to be with someone that's like, that you feel comfortable with, that you can communicate well with, because that's the key, is you're going to have to communicate a lot to be able to like make your goals and your dreams come true.
okay, so actually I need to have one good one and then I can work. So I need to, maybe I can, if I have a mother agency, I can work with her in order to understand really the contract between different agencies.
Yes.
Okay, so if I am working and go with people, oh, also, can I have, because an agent is different than having a mother agency. How do we can work together? Is it possible? Or
Yes. So, and this is all like, you need to reach out to different mother agencies, talk to them and say, hey, this is me and this is what I want to do. And if
Okay.
you want to do both modeling and acting, you want to be with a mother agent that knows more about both, so that they can help you sign with the right modeling agencies in the markets that you can travel to and work with, but also they can help you get an acting agent. And once your career gets to the level needed, you need an acting manager, a publicist, XYZ. So if your mother agent knows about all these things, they can help you and they can put you in contact with the right people and build the right team to get to where you need to be.
Okay, so the clue is like finding a good mother agency and then maybe try to stick to it. Okay.
Yeah, and try to talk to a few. You know, don't just sign with the first person that you met with. Try to be in touch with a few, and really feel out the communication and tell them, this is my ultimate goal is this, and this. And then they will tell you, well, I think that's realistic, but we need to go this way, or we need to do it this way. And then, sign with somebody that really you feel like you're both on the same page.
Okay, yes, but if there is another model agency, more like the vibe is like going super well, but you have this in the model agency that you don't really know, and how do you know that this is the end or this is the beginning, or how do you feel like working with people, because you don't want to lose the opportunity there, but you want to, like, this is don't.
There's no perfect answer, and do your research about that, because I can tell you right now, I'm the best mother agent in the world. Sure, but where's the, so if you follow the person, their Instagram, go on their website, see what talent they represent and what they've done for this talent, and see if that's kind of like the vibe that you want. And also the communication, because they can be an amazing agency, but then you and that person just do not communicate well. Don't go, even if it's the best agency in the world, don't sign with that agency if you don't feel like you can communicate well with the owner, manager, agent. You want to be somewhere where you feel comfortable picking up the phone and asking a question and communicating with the person. That being said, there is no perfect answer, and sometimes it sucks, but yes, if you sign with this person, you can't sign with the other one, and it feels like, what if I just made the biggest mistake in the world? It's not. Be professional, be nice, and you can say, hey, thank you so much for your time. I met with somebody else and we're definitely on the same page, and be thankful. Don't just disappear. Say, thank you so much for your time. I chose to sign with this person, but I really appreciate, you taking the time to meet with me or talk to me or answer my questions, whatever. And if in the future you leave that door open. I've had many talent that I spoke to that decided to sign with somebody else, and that I either never worked with them, but I've bumped into them once or twice, or that have emailed me a year, 2 years, 5 years after and say, hey, and it's not like I'm like, no. I'll say, sure, let's talk. Like, if they were rude, disrespectful, disappeared, then my interest is going to be zero. But if they were nice and respectful, I understand. I would understand if you decide not to sign with me and sign with somebody else because you felt, it's not black and white, and it's not 1 + 1 is 2. So go with your gut, but do your research. Don't just go with your gut and not know anything about this agency.
Do my research.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, is it down?
Hello, David. My question
Hi.
is for what's your advice for building up your social media when you're entering into this modern world and acting? So what things to do or things you don't do, what things to post, or what do you recommend me to start building that social media?
So my first thing is, don't stress about how many followers you have. I couldn't care less if you have 20 followers, or if you have 2 million, sure, that does make a difference. But if you have 200 or 3,000, it doesn't make a difference to me. It's like, what is the content? Don't post 1 million. Take a photo, post it. 2 weeks later, you think it's not the best, because obviously as you progress, your photos are going to be better. You're going to look better. Delete the bad ones and keep switching it up, but make it look professional. You can look super professional being brand new, and I can see your profile and see, okay, this person has never really worked for a magazine or a catalog, but they know what they're doing. Their photos, first of all, I don't want to see an Instagram with 30 photos of you like this. Like, give me an angle. Like, okay, if you have an amazing photo that's this angle, okay, but the next one should be like this, and the next one should be like this. And I don't want to see 20 photos of you with one angle, because then clearly you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to move in front of the camera. So good lighting, change your hair in the photos if you can, change the outfit. So I don't know, change your nails, change your jewelry, like give me a little bit of a variety so that I can imagine you fitting in with more than one client or more than one look. Make sure that you less is more, quality is important. So good photos with good lighting, with good composition, clean your lens, like little things like that. And B, it's very important for you to follow. If you have an Instagram, like if you guys are in high school and you have an Instagram where you want to post all your photos of your friends going to parties or whatever, do it. Call it something else. Make it private. I shouldn't ever see those photos. I couldn't care less. Make another one that's professional. Don't follow your mom. Don't follow your friends. Make it, you know, like a work one and post about you as a talent. If you want to be an actor, post a scene reading lines to the camera. And, you know, if you want to sing something on camera and post it. And then follow photographers and makeup artists and agents, and because it kind of, you start creating this little network. And you might think in the beginning, I think it probably feels a little useless because, like, you know, you're like, oh, I posted these 10 amazing videos and no one has discovered me. Like, have some patience, you know, it'll happen, but you want, one day someone will notice you for whatever reason, and they're going to go on that social media, and what are they going to see? So it's super important. I can't stress it enough. It is so important for you to have the right stuff posted on social media so that it looks like someone that knows how to do whatever job you're trying to do. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. You're welcome.
All right, Alicia.
Is it me?
Nope. Alicia.
Okay. Alicia.
Alicia Sturham. Hi.
My question is about my question is about the photos. What like background would you like recommend? Or would it be more of a plain background so like it's more focused on you, or like what would you really recommend?
A little bit of both. Like if you live next to the beach and you can take a beautiful photo on the beach or in a park or in a mountain or whatever, do it. But again, always make sure that you are the number one focus in the photo. I don't want to see a photo that's like the view is more distracting than you. So that's like the main thing to remember. And if it's obviously have a few where the background is just like a white wall, you know, a concrete wall, whatever. And you can experiment with some of them being a little funky with a crazy hat on, with a bow on your head, whatever. But then you definitely need a few where it's very like plain and simple. This is me. And again, a few plain ones of your hair up, your hair down, wet look, a little bit more makeup, a little less makeup. Also try to play with your age. If you can look, you know, I think your profile says you're 15. So if you can take a photo where you look 13 and you could play like, you know, a younger girl in school, but then you take another photo where you're like, you do your hair and your makeup and the outfit and you look like 18, that's awesome because you show a little bit of a variety. But try to definitely focus more on the way you look and what you're projecting, and don't focus as much on the background.
All right, Yulia.
Hi, nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Nice to meet you.
So I have a question about the showcase coming up. So do we have to have like a self-tape where we're like presenting our photos, and like what kind of photos does it have to?
Yulia, sorry, this would be a good question for you to ask on the info at Next Star Production, because this is questions for David regarding the industry.
Ah, I see. Okay, yeah, sure.
No worries.
Then I have another one, like, can you give me some advice how to perform good at the showcase? Like, yeah.
Yes. So practice whatever you're going to perform, practice it 100 times so that it's just like stuck in your head. And then in the moment, no matter what I tell you, like it's normal to get nervous. Like you will be nervous. It's normal. We know you're nervous. If you mess up, which almost everybody makes some mistake, you either say the wrong line, or if you're doing a dance thing, you do the wrong step. Try not to stop and just keep going and work on it. And if if your line was like, I really want to eat a hamburger, and you say, I really want to eat a sandwich, don't say, just laugh it off and just keep going. Sometimes I don't know you made a mistake. I didn't know the lines, so I'm not even going to notice. But if I notice that you make a mistake, what I'm looking for again is somebody that can like keep going. It's not going to get phased. If you mess up, if you trip, get up, smile, and keep going. You know, if you can manage to keep going, it's better. But if you really, if whatever happened and you completely messed up and you need to start over, just say, I'm so sorry, let me start over, and just go. Don't like wait 2 minutes. Just say, I'm so sorry, let me just start over. Hi, and you just won't go right back into it. And again, you will be nervous, so you need to figure out what you need. Use that nervousness. Like being nervous is a good thing. It gives you that adrenaline, but use it in the right way and try to avoid, for example, if you're reading lines, try to avoid saying, try to avoid fidgeting with your fingers, because a lot of times you can tell someone's nervous because they're like reading their lines, but they're like, their hands just will not stop moving. So if that means put your hands in your pocket in a cool way, wear a jacket that has pockets in a way where you can put your hands there and keep them there and look cool. Carry a purse if that's what it takes for you to, you know what I mean? Like figure out whatever trick that you need to be able to not be like fidgety or play with your hair 100 times while you read your lines, or you know.
Yeah, so like doing less gestures like this,
yes.
Yeah,
I mean, do the gestures that are needed in your acting. If you're saying a line, you know, focus on what the character is portraying and not in your nervousness. And no chewing gum during whatever performance any of you are doing.
Okay, good, thanks. Oh, yeah, and also you mentioned one thing that we better not like wearing jewelry or something because like it can get lost. So I wanted like to ask you, what did you mean by that? Like, can it be stolen or?
No, I mean, sure, but when you go to a job, when you're shooting a commercial, or shooting a movie, whatever, and you show up with this huge necklace and this ring, whatever, they're gonna take it off because the character, they're gonna put, and they're gonna take it off and they're gonna put it somewhere. And unless you're super careful and you put it in your purse, jewelry, like usually small things, they get lost. It's so I always say just show up wearing nothing. Why are you wearing all this jewelry to a job where the second you get there, they're gonna do your hair, your makeup, and they're gonna take everything off? Leave it at home. A casting is different. You know, you can wear a little jewelry here and there, but nothing for your showcase, guys, nothing that is more, that grabs more attention than you. You don't want people to remember your necklace. You want people to remember you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, James.
Hello. Earlier you mentioned that we need to seize the day, as you mean like continue working. So with the area where I live right now, like there's barely any agents. Like I was wondering, as a new individual who just starting in this industry, I was wondering where is like the best way to start, and which website would be the best recommendation for you for me to submit my headshot, and as well like where I can start from now, because I just don't want to listen and then just like take it as like an option, but I just want to start like right away from here on and then know where to begin and where I can end.
So once you feel prepared enough to reach out, start reaching out to agencies. If there's nothing and nobody in your city, what's the closest big city to you? So that's step one. And this goes for everybody that's listening. If you live in a small little town, so what's the closest city to you that's large enough to have agencies and somewhat of an industry? So focus on that city, in my opinion, first. Unless you tell me, hey, I'm moving to Los Angeles in 6 months, okay, then focus on Los Angeles, email everybody there. But if at the moment you cannot move, but you want to start working and doing whatever you can, then what is the closest city? Or if there's a few cities, like if you live, you know, depending on what country you live in, if you live in the United States, there's a lot of work in a lot of cities. It's a big country. So if you live in Germany, there's a lot of work in Hamburg, but there's also a lot of work in Berlin. If you live in Spain, there's tons of work in Barcelona, but also in Madrid. So like, it really depends on your nationality, your country. you know, if you really want to start working, you guys should have a passport so that if you send a casting and you get booked and the job shoots in another country, you are ready to go and do that job. So reach out to agents, agencies, managers, everything. It's really easy to find that information, honestly, on Google. So pick the city. And if the city the closest to you is, let's say, Paris, and Google, acting agents in Paris, modeling agencies in Paris, blah, 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 and email everybody you can. If it's close enough where you can go for a weekend, actually not a weekend because people are closed during the weekend, but if you can go for a few days, go and try to like request to meet these agents in person if you can. If it's too far, if you don't have the money to travel to that city, it's fine. Reach out to them. And I would say double your chances. Message them on Instagram, email them on their website. If you know, the more research, the better. I've had people that emailed me and Instagrammed me and Instagrammed the agency, and then one of those is the one that got noticed first and got a reply. So the more emails and messages you send on social media, the better.
James, we also bringing the agencies to you at the showcase and the production. So,
Okay, thank you so much.
we only have about less than 15 minutes. So, only industry questions. So, Alicia.
Hello, I'm Rachel and I'm Alicia's mom.
Hi.
Hi. So at the minute, Alicia doesn't have a social media presence, and obviously you've mentioned that that is where most people seem to go to. What would you advise? Would you advise, because she's an aspiring singer, dancer, and actor, and obviously we want to imprint all three. So what I'm trying to find out, would you suggest that she starts just doing some acting reels and uploading them on her Instagram account?
All three. I would love to see a video of her singing, another one dancing, and another one acting. Why not?
Perfect. And also, because she's also bilingual, so would you suggest as well just do a bit of something in English, she's German speaking as well, then do something as well in German speaking?
Yes, and even in your profile, you can, you know, your username, and then you write Alicia. It depends, but you can write, you know, bilingual, speak English and German. All of those things matter. You never know if somebody's specifically looking for someone for a German TV show and they need someone that, you know, so yeah, the more information like that.
I forgot about the profile bit. And my last question would be, with the singing, most agencies seem to say sing a cappella. So with the Instagram account, is that what you'd advise for her to do more a cappella?
I think a cappella is better because I really will just focus on her voice. But if some people, it's hard for them to get into it a cappella.
Yeah.
Play the music, but not so loud, so that what I really notice is your voice and not the sound of the music.
Yeah, and sorry, again, I'm gonna go one more question on singing. She's doing she's training vocally, and it's more classical training because we are in Europe, and let's just say she does piano, which is again more classical training. Would I be wrong in saying maybe in the US you're more like the pop? If so, she's going for an audition, would you suggest more of modern contemporary as opposed to us going and singing? Well, which is what we would have done the Mawana song, because that is what she's training vocally, and she sits exams and she's following a syllabus. What's your view on it? What is attractive to the market?
I think everything is attractive. It really depends. Somebody might be shooting a musical. Somebody might be shooting a TV show that's supposed to be, you know, a period piece. So if you record a video singing opera and another one singing like a very romantic ballad and another one singing something a little more pop and more fun, by all means, better. Just make sure, don't try to post 50 videos of 50 songs and they're all terrible. I prefer to see three good songs that you really can hit and where you're connecting with the camera while you're singing. That's what I want to see. But yeah, the variety. The more things you know how to do, the better.
Yeah, I was a bit confused because I was thinking, oh well, two continents seem to sort of work differently.
Post a little bit of everything, and then you'll see. And her career might start completely this way, and it might be super pop. But knowing that you can sing pop and, you know, rock and a cappella, opera, everything, the more the better. So
Okay, I'll stop talking so somebody else can have a chance to ask a question.
thank you.
All right, so Pamela.
Hi, yeah, I have two questions for you. The first one is, what is a good platform for me to collaborate with photographers?
For
Do you
me,
know any? Yeah.
For me, Instagram is the best. Instagram is where we're all using Instagram. That's where the photographer will again make your profile public, because if you message a photographer, he goes on there, it's private. By the time you accept him, he's gonna lose interest. So like, make your profile public and say, hi, I love your work. I'd love to shoot with you. Are you interested in a collaboration? Just go straight to the point. Don't just say, hi, how are you? Straight to the point. Like, time is money.
Okay, and then the second one, because I have been with two agencies already, and one is a mother agency, and do I have lesser chance to sign with a different agency? Earlier, you have mentioned that sometimes two agencies doesn't work well together. So if me going to another agency, should I talk to the mother agency first and then mention that I want to work with this agency as well? Should I do that, or how would I
Yes.
navigate it?
Yes,
Okay.
tell your mother agency, I would love to work. Either you say, I would love to have an agency in Miami, and that's it. Or you say, hey, I know of this specific agency in Miami, and I love them, and I would love to be signed with them. And your mother agency might say, oh, I have a great relationship with them. Let's do it. Or like, oh, I don't know them well, but let me email them. Let me contact them. If you get contacted by some agency and you say, hey, I would love to work with you. I have a mother agent. His name is David. Here's his email, that's perfect. And I would say most good agencies, everybody gets along. Like, it's hard to find
So
somebody
I
that
don't have lesser chance,
no,
right?
no,
Okay,
not
got
at all.
it.
Thank
And
you.
then, sorry,
No.
thank you also. So I have this Model Mayhem website that I'm in for years, and
Yeah.
is that a good platform for
Yeah,
the photographers? Oh,
it
okay.
is for sure. Keep it and check it and whatever. For me, Instagram has always been like the number one, recently, but Model Mayhem has been, existed for years, and it's really good. So yeah,
Yes.
keep it going.
Okay, thank you for that.
No problem.
Esner or Etner?
Yes. Hi. Hi, David. Yes, actually, I just wanted to ask you about like some challenges that you have seen, probably some talents facing in today's industry, and how can they actually overcome these challenges? Yeah, like anything that has to do with like, modeling, be it commercial modeling or like runway models.
I think that again, before it was much harder. The idea of beauty was very small, and now it's a lot more broad. But then that means that now everyone can be a model. So the amount of competition is huge. So you used to be only competing with a few people that kind of looked like you or had the same age or the same body type. Now you're competing for a job, and it might go to somebody that's 20 years older than you, 1 foot taller than you, bigger legs, bigger waist, smaller waist, bigger hips, etc. So like the possibilities now are like more and more broad. So it's like it's so hard. You're competing next to somebody that's 20 years older than you, and somebody that's 5 years younger than you, and sometimes you really have no idea why the other person got booked. And I would say that's a big challenge, because it's hard to like go home and not know why they didn't choose you. You have no idea. And even sometimes your agent might say they're looking for somebody that's like 20 years old and looks like, and you're like, that's exactly me. And then they book someone that's 35. And you're like, what the hell? Sometimes the client doesn't exactly know what they want, and they think they want this. And then this person shows up to the casting and they end up booking that person. So it's like the biggest challenge is, don't take it personal. Work on what you can work on. But clearly, for example, if you go to a casting and they book someone 20 years older than you, like, what do you can't go work on looking 20 years older. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, sometimes it's just the job was not for you. Like, let it go, move on. But what I will say is I've had millions of times where I was doing a casting for some job and we were looking for a model, and then we booked this person, but I'm like, oh my God, you remember Etner? Don't you think that their face is perfect for this job? And like, I didn't book you for that job, and you go home super sad because you didn't get that job, but I remember your photo and I end up booking you for some other random thing. So and even if you think like, if you show up to a casting, you're like, they're not going to book me. Like, I can tell they're going for someone that looks older or whatever. Do the best casting you can, because even if they don't book you at all, and even if the second they see you, they know they're not going to book you for that job, if you make a good impression, they will remember you. And we all have multiple jobs. It's not like I'm always looking for the same look for the same thing. So make an impression and they will remember you and book you for something else.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, and last one is Yelistetta.
Hi
Hey.
again. Yes, so I have a question about the fees of when an agency or a model agency approach you and you see that it's kind of look like professional and everything, but what do you expect from them? Like, no, the question is the fees they propose you to pay, just to be aware of the scam, or oh, it's probably like look something that I can.
So agencies take a percentage from everything you earn. So for example, in the United States, the norm is to take 20% from what you make. Other countries vary. Milan is different, Paris is different. So research like this industry standard of the percentage that they take from your jobs. It's normal for you to have to pay for a photographer to take photos of you. That doesn't mean that you have to spend $1 million and do it, once a week, but like, you should pay for a professional portfolio and your mother agency should help you figure out what photographer that is and the money needed. Also, be transparent with your mother agent. If they say, hey, there's this photographer, they're amazing, and they charge $500. If you don't have those $500, say, hey, can you help me find a photographer that'll shoot me and whatever, but that only charges $200? That's all I've got. Like, be transparent. Don't just say yes to everything without asking questions, or find out, or do communicate. It's all about communication. Ask your questions. If they have a runway class and they charge, there's no perfect answer in the sense that, like, find out what they're asking. If they're just asking you for money for no reason, for no explanation, that sounds like a scam. If they're saying, hey, you should invest money in shooting this portfolio, you should pay this runway coach to teach you to walk, etc., that's perfect. But if you don't have the money, then also say, hey, listen, I really don't have the money, but I want to learn. Do you know of a cheaper coach? Do you know of somebody that might want to collaborate with me, etc.? And say it.
Okay, and the last question about that is, when you travel or you have something out of the country, do you need always to like pay for everything, like for rent, your travel, or sometimes it could be the agency? Is it me or?
No, you need to pay for if you're traveling for a job, if this Macy's books you for a job and it's shooting in, the beach, they will fly you to the beach, they will pay for the hotel, etc. But if you're going to go model to Paris for 2 months, you need to pay for those things. Now, sometimes you could say to the agency, hey, I really want to go and I have the time and whatever, but I don't have enough money. So they help you, and it's called advancing. So they advance you the money. So they'll either advance you the money for the flight, or they might advance you money to stay in an Airbnb or in an apartment that the agency owns. And advancing means that they will say, hey, I advance you $2,000. So then you go, you're working, and they'll say, hey, you made $10,000 minus 20%, which is the commission that the agency takes. And then I also advanced you $2,000 for your flight and apartment. So this is what you're left with.
Okay.
So yeah. And that's very normal in the industry as well, to be advanced certain things. And an agency might say, listen, no, we don't believe in you enough right now to advance you a flight. Because as an agent, if I'm advancing you, a flight and an apartment or whatever, I'm expecting to get that money back. And I don't want to get it back in 10 years. I want to get it back fast. So if I think you're not experienced enough, I'd rather wait and say, come in a year when I know that I will make that money faster,
Yeah.
So just because the opportunity is not there today doesn't mean it's not going to be there tomorrow. If you're not
Okay.
ready right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for your questions.
So we're at our limit. So I want to thank David for today. Just as a reminder, you guys, that Jeremy Johnson with Made Management is hosting a complimentary session at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be in 30 minutes. So if you guys want to come to that as well, Jeremy with Made Management, you are all invited on the same Zoom link. All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, David. Thanks,
Bye.
Jeremy.
Have a good one.
You too, 3:30.